Welcome to Half 2-4. Today in the show, Erling Haaland shocked with a frank admission. Liverpool once again humiliated Newcastle and officially takes the heir of Mohamed Salah. Real agreed a contract until 2032 year with Enzo Fernandez. This will be the most expensive transfer in history of Madridistas, and why England wins the World Championship. We begin right now. On the transfer market of England occurred another epic robbery in which the magical bird Liver, again to the foundation, plucked the unfortunate magpie. Merseyside Liverpool officially completed the transfer of the 22-year-old Spanish winger of Osasuna Victor Munoz, signing with him a long-term agreement until June 2032 year. And this transition became a real copy of fierce behind-the-scenes wars of last summer. Newcastle United during the last week led this football player, was considered a 100% favorite, and British press called the transfer inevitable. But bosses of Liverpool jumped out from behind the corner, activated the clause of the player in size of 40 million euros, and defiantly intercepted the Spaniard right from under the nose of magpies. For Newcastle, this already becomes a chronic nightmare and a real public humiliation. We remind that at first, Merseysides in a similar way intercepted from them Hugo Ekitike, then with scandal took the main goal scorer, Alexander Isak, and now left without Victor Munoz. Who then such this boy, behind whom unfolded such a crazy chase? Munoz, a product of the football system of Barcelona and Madrid Real. Fully, he opened up last season in Osasuna, where scored 7 goals and gave several assists, demonstrating a crazy starting speed, dribbling, and tactical flexibility. His progress turned out so powerful that in spring, Munoz debuted for the national team of Spain, scored in the first same match of Serbia, and now finds himself in the final squad of the team at the World Championship. Exactly, therefore behind the rising star lined up a queue of top clubs. Fabrizio Romano adds a super important detail. Madrid Real, which owned half of rights on the player, will not have the right of a buyback. The Royal Club will receive half from the sum of transfer, that is 20 million euros, and will preserve only primary right on negotiations in the future, but the last word all the same will remain behind the football player himself. Fans on Anfield already rub hands, because after the departure of Mohamed Salah to the team critically is needed a new leader of attack. Many analysts agree on the opinion that the young, hungry to victories and technical Munoz has absolutely all prerequisites to become an ideal replacement to the legendary Egyptian and the new leader of Merseyside attack. Write in comments whether believe you that Munoz will be able to repeat the majestic path of Salah in Liverpool. On the transfer market flashed a real bomb, which promises to turn into an absolutely record, most expensive and loudest transition in history of Madrid Real. Reliable Italian insider Niccolò Schira came out with an exclusive. The Royal Club achieved a fundamental agreement with the star Argentinian midfielder of Chelsea, Enzo Fernandez. The sides completely agreed the terms of personal contract, which will be calculated for 6 years, right until June 2032 year. The main initiator of this operation became Jose Mourinho, who returned on the post of head coach of Real. Portuguese manager sees in the Argentinian the foundation for renewal of the midfield line. The 25-year-old champion of the world himself already long ago strives to leave the London club. After the dismissal of Enzo Maresca and on the background of full absence of European Cups in Chelsea, Enzo openly stated to bosses that wants to play exclusively in the Champions League. Now, the football player exerts crazy pressure on leadership of Blues, demanding to release him to Madrid. Spanish journalists confirm that Real, behind closed doors, already achieved full agreement with the player himself and his agent Javier Pastore, and to finalize the deal they plan immediately after completion of the World Championship. However, Fabrizio Romano adds important behind-the-scenes details. Enzo currently finds himself in the short list of Real from 4 main candidates, and this transfer directly depends on cleaning in the midfield line of whites. Bosses of Madrid at first must offload the squad. In this direction already, there are serious developments. Dani Ceballos guaranteed leaves the team, and the young Argentinian Nico Paz, with huge probability, will remain in Como under leadership of Cesc Fabregas yet for one season. Also, Real considers the option with the sale of Eduardo Camavinga to gather the necessary budget for lightning operation, which demands Mourinho. Strengthens the position of Madrid also that the left defender of Chelsea, Marc Cucurella, already moved to Bernabeu for £52 million sterling, and Enzo openly strives to go following the partner. And here now we pass to the main to historical figures. If Chelsea does not decrease its financial appetites, this transfer completely will rewrite the history of Madrid. Londoners took a tough position and demand for their player minimum £120 million sterling, what equals approximately 140 million euros. They want to completely win back the money which once paid to Benfica. Currently, the most expensive acquisition in history of Royal Club is Jude Bellingham, whose transfer, with consideration of all activated bonuses, reached 127 million euros. If Florentino Perez agrees to pay to Londoners 138 million euros, Enzo Fernandez will displace Bellingham and will become the most expensive football player in history of Real Madrid. So, friends, center of the field of Real can become simply cosmic.
Yes.
Superstar forward of Manchester City, Erling Haaland, gave a very frank and surprisingly self-critical interview regarding that, whom right now can be considered the best attacker of the planet. Norwegian did not become modest, but this demonstrated maximum respect to figures and facts, which reflect the real picture in world football. When journalists directly asked Erling, who is the best forward in the world, Haaland answered the following: "The best attacker in the world? I would say that find myself somewhere there, on the very top, among the best. But I did not score most goals in this season. Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe banged more than me, and this is a harsh reality. If to look purely on statistics, then no, right now I am not the best." And Norwegian here is absolutely right, because figures of this season really impress. While Haaland himself, because of micro-injuries and fierce rotation in PL, slightly lowered his usual cosmic gears, his main competitors arranged a real goal madness. Harry Kane in the squad of Munich Bayern and Kylian Mbappe and Madrid Real gave simply phenomenal indicators in all official tournaments, capitally outstripping the leader of Manchester City by quantity of scored goals. However, that fact that Haaland publicly recognizes the strength of his rivals only emphasizes his sporting anger. Right now, already on fields of the World Championship, the 25-year-old attacker began summer with a signature brace, clearly hinting that is going to return to himself the title of absolute goalscorer #1 already in the new club season. Write in comments, who for you is the best forward by results of this year, Haaland, Kane, or Mbappe? The national team of England opened its path at the World Championship of 2026 year with an epic victory over Croatia with score 4-2. But if someone wrote this plot as a Hollywood blockbuster, it would exactly be rejected by producers for excessive dramaticity. Just think into it. In the camp of 3 Lions before the match, at first stole all equipment, boots, kit, and training gear. Then the team barely did not fall under a destructive tornado in the USA. And already in the match itself, Harry Kane managed not to realize a penalty, and only thanks to that Croatian goalkeeper prematurely came out behind the line. The captain received the right on retake and from the second attempt did not miss. In the first half, Englishmen twice conceded and twice equalized, as if intentionally complicating to themselves every step, but in the end clawed out a splendid victory, 4-2. Head coach Thomas Tuchel, after the final whistle, frankly recognized that in the first half, the team was simply not to recognize. We showed excessive nervousness and wanted to overdo. When it was needed to play short, played long, and vice versa. Statistics speaks itself for itself. 33% of won duels in the first half, against 77% in the second. To us lacked courage and self-sacrifice. We tried something to protect, and us for this punished. But I simply adore our reaction after the break. We forced them to be themselves. In the dressing room, Tuchel said to players one simple thing, which overturned the game. As told Harry Kane, "Coach gave us a clear instruction. If we lose, then lose in our way. You saw how we came out on the second half on full gas. Croatians simply could not with us cope." Jude Bellingham added that it went without screams and excessive drama. This was a conversation which the team really needed. We have a mature group and strong leaders, all understood why we undercollected in quality. Early goal gave us a platform. My responsibility before country to give everything on the field. Tuchel separately showered in compliments Kane, who not only formed a brace, but also equaled with the legendary Gary Lineker, having scored his 10th goal at the World Championships, and became the second Englishman after David Beckham, who scored at 3 Mundials in a row. If you saw how our captain in compensated time with whole body blocked a decisive strike of Joško Gvardiol after a set piece, this speaks to you everything about his performance. Absolute leader, stated German specialist. In addition, Tuchel praised Marcus Rashford, who scored an important goal. Marcus presses on trainings, works on the highest level. I am incredibly glad that he deserved this goal with his hunger and work during the last 17 days. It did not go also without curiosities. On the press conference, Tuchel issued a complaint on FIFA, which instantly became viral. "I begged to change the position of photographers during execution of anthems. I so waited of this moment and instead stood before a wall from 50 photographers and did not see any his player. This slightly spoiled to me the moment about which I feared even to dream at the beginning of career." While fans celebrate, former defender of the national team Harry Maguire on air emphasized the key factor of success. All disputes regarding Jude Bellingham finally closed. For all respect to Morgan Rogers, Jude, this is cosmos. They, with Kane in attack, make difference on top level and create moments single-handedly. By the way, Bellingham in this match established a world record, becoming the youngest European in history who played at 4 major international tournaments at the age of 22 years and 353 days. The only spoon of tar became the damage of Declan Rice, whom Tuchel replaced as a precautionary measure. Coach confirmed that midfielder felt discomfort in the lower part of back and popliteal tendon, but Rice himself assured that everything fine, and medical staff simply will take care about his recovery. England passed the check on strength against one of the most experienced national teams of the world, which, in last 2 championships of the world, occupied either second or third place. And this crazy start with thefts, tornadoes, character, and comeback clearly proves in this gang of Tuchel there is character. I do not like to make predictions, but think that this England can win this Mundial. Write in comments whether agree with me.